call from
Scott H.
Well, hello there, Scott H.
What are you doing, young lady?
Oh my God, I feel like I'm in trouble.
God
In
almighty.
trouble? Why would you be in trouble?
Because Scott H is on the line, guys. You guys, this is the infamous Scott H. Soundbite Scott H. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just trying to, sift through this madness. I'd love to
Well,
hear
I guess
Scott H's point of view on this.
you could actually be in trouble with this whole JLR rumor going around that you're
Oh, God almighty.
these infidelities that you're having, behind the scenes with him, and that involves me, of course, So
I know. I saw your comment. You're like, we got to have a little talk here because there's some cheating going on.
yeah, we're definitely gonna have to discuss that for sure next time you're this way.
Yeah. Oh,
What do you
Scott.
think? Oh, TikTok Tony getting on Caleb Harris's social media and being snotty.
Dude, I don't even know what to think of that whole thing. He put a rebuttal post on Facebook and he said the Harris family did not fire him, that was his TikTok account and it was the Harris family did not want it. They weren't interested in using it. So he out of the politeness of his heart or whatever changed the name and removed the content. And I thought, "Okay.
Oh wow.
He's got an excuse for everything."
Yeah, he does.
You're
His
awesome.
his excuses are kind of limp. No pun intended.
Let it all hang out.
I'm telling you what, this guy, man, he's a train wreck.
Mm.
He is a train wreck.
Scott H, what do you think his end game is? Like, what is he doing? He's saying he's not getting paid. He's turning down all these interviews. I heard today that Dr. Phil had reached out and he said no. So what is exactly going on?
I don't know. Tim Mullen with in
Ugh.
Summer Wells, he was supposed to be the famous media manager, to help the Wells family navigate through all these high profile interviews that never came or were denied if they did come. And now it seems, kind of this Tony Mathis is kind of the same way with Seth. He's supposedly has these, you know, primetime interviews, to discuss his missing son.
Nailing it down.
But yeah, he turns it all down. So what's up with that?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, what is this dude really up to? I mean, that's what I've been trying to figure out. Like, what's his end game? And furthermore, I guess, how did he go from, working in another state than a coworker, right? He works in, or he lives in Oklahoma. The Harris dude lives in Texas. So they're
Right.
coworkers, like, via, another state. But anyways, like, how do you all of a sudden be like, hey, I'll open a GoFundMe for you, dude? Like, how does that conversation take over? And then, like, also, how do you become the spokesperson for like a complete stranger in another state after that? It's just weird.
Well, I mean, excuse me, I could actually see it, if he had actually done something in Caleb's case. But thank goodness, this Caleb's case hasn't turned into a train wreck like Sebastian's has. Now he does have listed on Caleb's GoFundMe uh, Randall Harris, which as the beneficiary. So at least there's that. That's Randall Harris is Caleb's dad. So hopefully he can't. I mean, he's got $24,384 in that GoFundMe. I don't know if there's a way that he's going to try to weasel that out from them, and was hoping he could do the same thing through Sebastian. If that's his gig, is to just run around and set up GoFundMe for missing kids out of nowhere and scam them all out of thousands of dollars. I don't know. 'Cause
Just
all
bizarre.
else it seems that he's done is pretty much offend everybody. You know,
Yeah. He's done nothing good. So like I
nothing.
was I was like trying to compile a list today of all the things he's done, and it's all bad. It's all bad. Chased away
Yeah,
the legit people. He thought he was going to come onto YouTube and put all these people down and we would just believe it. It's like, no, like Trevor Lee, he's built a reputation here on YouTube.
yeah, definitely.
And
And he actually has certificates of being, through the courses to be an advocate for people.
yes,
He actually has. He doesn't just come on YouTube and say it. He actually has the proof that he's done it. He has the experience to back it up that he's done it.
absolutely. He changed. I think he got a bill passed through Tennessee Senate.
Yeah,
I mean, he's 22 years old. I mean, most people don't even accomplish something like that in a lifetime.
right, right.
So I just don't understand it. I mean, that's somebody that as a 50-some-year-old man, you would be commending that young man and saying, what a good job he's done. But he's calling him. Did you see the text that he texted Trevor Lee?
Yeah, yeah,
He called him a whiny little bitch. I was like,
yep,
what is wrong with
yep.
this guy?
Well, Seth was. He was no better.
Oh,
I mean,
Seth
he
is
just
just
came out.
he's a fucking piece of work.
That hot mic moment that he had when he was on Smiley's. He was hit live and didn't know it, and was basically said the same thing.
Horrible.
Never even slowed down when he found out that he was live. He
He got worse.
yeah, it got worse. And then you've got back with Trisha and Web Sleuth.
Oh yeah.
When you've got Chris, when Chloe and oh gosh, what was the other PI's name?
Heather.
Heather, yeah, they were on there. But of course, Chloe wasn't doing her job because she was out searching. What which is crazy. And then you've
Yeah.
got the whole mess with T-Rev and uh, Michaela and Seth.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Seth saying that Jules's dogs are mutts.
Mm-hmm. And she's gone. She's
Oh, is
quiet.
she gone now?
She's totally quiet. I haven't heard from her since all that happened.
She was on the Vault XL.
That was the last time I heard
With
her. Yep.
okay, okay. That was a couple of days ago. Well, I'm a couple of days behind on everything, so
Yeah, that's the
it's
last
been a
I've
few
heard of
days
her.
ago. Yeah.
I can't believe it's only Wednesday. This has been one hell of a week.
I mean, if you look at anything that they're involved in, I mean, well, to be honest, to be fair about it, and this is being fair about it, that any of them are involved. Tony, Seth, Katie, Chris, and then anybody that they seem to bring into the mix.
Mm.
You've got poor Nina.
That's a whole nother debacle right there.
That's a whole other thing. And then you've got the whole other thing with uh, Sebastian's grandma on the Rogers side, and then his grandparents on the Proudfoot side.
God
You've got
almighty.
them all mixed up in there at different varying times.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know to what extent. Well, I know shoot, there was something else I was going to say about Chloe and Heather back when they were on Web Sleuth with Trisha.
When Chris got mad
That,
about Mama.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, it was just that whole thing was, Trisha, she did, that kind of reminded me like, well, a lot of creators, uh, when you had that goof, that flake that came on there with Jules that time,
Mm,
the trying to be the dog handler, when that stuff comes out of left field, I mean, what do you do?
yeah.
I mean, a lot of people say, end the stream and stop it, and some people say, keep it going. I mean, what do you do in situations like that? Because Trisha got blindsided. She had no idea
Yeah. Yeah. I
that
mean,
was
you just do the best you can. You know what I mean? You just try to keep control. And I feel like she did, like she did. Chris was the one yelling and she was trying to keep everything under control. It was a mess. It was a
yeah.
mess. And to be
Then
quite
you look
honest with
at
you, like when Steph was on my panel and Jules at the same time, that whole debacle was not even planned for Steph to be on there. That was like a last minute, oh hey, if you want to join type thing. Um, but all these people that I don't even know came in and were like, her pictures are fake, her pictures are fake. And it's like these people that I don't know. So like I'm not gonna stop my stream because I get bombarded with, 5, 6 people coming in saying it's wrong, it's wrong. Cause people will do that just to be trolls. So you have to be careful. And
right,
it's like, okay, no harm, no foul. I mean, we were able to figure it out. It could have waited till after stream because really Julia was the focus in that case.
right, right.
But yeah, I mean, you just kind of got to roll
Well,
with it.
I mean, there's instances, back to Summer Wells case, you look at Josh on the lab, Ziggy, uh, Smiley Stories World, when they had Don came up and he unleashed the god awful fury of the end with the hard R,
Mm-hmm.
tirades that he would go on. I mean, do you think that they were any of them were expecting, that?
No.
Or no, no, absolutely not. So I mean, I think a certain amount of grace has got to be given, when you're dealing with live streams and it's real time stuff and none of us are trained uh professionally on what to do in certain situations when things like that come up, and every creator has a different boundaries of what they're going to allow to happen and what they're not, and
Uh
I
huh.
I still I still stand by the thing, there's an X. All you got to do is just click off, it's just, change the channel.
If you don't
you
like it,
know
exactly.
yeah, yeah,
We
because
have so many
people
channels now. I mean, we used to just have the 3 when I was a kid. Switch it.
and yeah, yeah, exactly. And you're wiggling the little rabbit ears, hopefully, to get them in the
Yeah,
right
get some
direction.
damn foil
You
on
know,
that.
so,
Yeah.
right. So one of the three will come in a little clearer than the other
Bang on the
two.
internet,
Yeah,
man. Click, 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 click. It's real easy, man.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
Oh God, get out of my brain. um. Oh shoot, I was something I was gonna ask you. Okay, you know what I want to know, Scott H.
What's that?
Okay, first of all, so you're getting a lot of requests to say the FDO soundbite.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, yeah. Again, for everyone, I just found this out yesterday. For everyone, if you want an absolutely beautiful stainless tumbler
Oh,
or a glossy black 15-ounce coffee mug,
you saw them.
you can go and see a combination of FDO and J for Justice podcast only at the Streamlabs links that will be floating in your live chat. Very reasonable prices too.
Thank you for that plug. Yay, Scott
Yeah,
H.
yeah.
Good job. Now you have to say
That,
fuck directly off.
okay, Tony Mathis, You can suck directly off.
That was awesome. 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 That couldn't have sounded better. Oh my God.
Good
How does it
deal.
feel to be fucked directly off famous?
Oh man, I just don't know. You know the royalties that I get from you, you know, from your daily shows are just, you know, I'm so flush with cash right now from that. I just don't even know what to do with myself.
The
You know,
royalties are just flowing in, aren't they?
it has truly been a life changing event for sure.
The FDO merch has been a hit, I must say. On the first day, I
This is the
sold a
way.
couple pieces.
Good, good.
I know, right?
This is the way. This is the way that I look at. Oh, and by the way, people, Jay and I have nothing to do with that. That was completely Jay's idea, and I'm completely fine with it. The way that I look at
Oh,
it,
the some.
I'm not receiving royalties or any cut or kickback or anything like that. The way that I look at it is, if me and my silliness or brashness or whatever can get a giggle out of somebody in this world, as tough as it can be on all of us, if somebody gets a laugh out of it, it's all worth it. If it even makes somebody smile on a bad day, you know, if it puts a few dollars in your pocket by selling merch, and your audience gets something that they like because of some goofball like me that, you know, says silly stuff on my channel, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, you know. Let's have fun with it and go.
Yeah, I mean it's
Keep
become a
it moving.
regular saying around our Discord too. FDO.
Good deal. Good deal.
Well,
It
thanks.
applies. It applies so much
It
in this internet world that we live in, you know.
it does. It does. You're getting the chat is cracking me up. I'm sorry.
I'll have to go back
Y-
and look at it and read it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, you're gonna have
just
to.
concentrating on it.
It's classic. I'm gonna pull up the mugs right now. It kind of like after the whole Tony Peen day, I was like, we need some FDO merch. We need some cups.
Definitely, definitely. I think
I'll
they
have to
look
send you
sharp.
one, Scott H.
I really like
Yeah, which one do you
the
like?
well, I like the tumbler as well. I don't really use tumblers, you
Well,
know, so
maybe you
I would
would.
be, well, this is true. Maybe I should start being a tumbler kind of guy.
Yeah, maybe you would. It'd make you drink more water. So, do you like the black or the white one? Because we have the black tumblers and then we have the white ones.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you. I looked at
Oh,
them
yeah. Can you see?
yesterday. I'm kind of on a lag.
Oh, yeah.
We're going from, I'm real time on the phone with you, but my YouTube's kind of a little bit on a lag.
So that's the
There you go.
FDO logo. And then
Right there's the old mug. Yep.
you can't, they don't give
And
you a straight up view, but it's on both sides of the mug, but that's or the cup rather. And then
the
there's
tumbler,
the white, the white one.
the tumbler's right beside it. Yeah, right there. Yeah, that's sharp looking. I've got to say, it really is. Iced coffee would be really good in
Oh,
that.
yeah, for sure. And it comes with the straw too, but these are the FDO mugs.
That logo right there was a brilliant way of doing that. I really really like the way that you did that.
Thanks, Scott.
That's cool.
I'm gonna send you a tumbler. And then we have the infamous FOAD, which is F off and die, the Kid Rock song.
Right, right. Did you see? I didn't even realize it. Did you see that Tucker Carlson has been opening up for Kid Rock on his latest
I
tour?
did. I actually just sent my son a link to that the other day and he was laughing. That was
Yeah,
crazy.
I saw that last night. And Trump does a little intro for him for him too? Because you lived really close to Kid Rock when you were in Michigan, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Well, we went to high school together. We went to the same junior high and high
Right,
school, and then he still
right. I
lives
thought,
there, and he lives out in the country now. But yeah, we grew up in the same town.
right,
He used to DJ our dances.
right. I thought there was something like that. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't remember. It a long time since we had talked about it, but I knew that you knew him in some capacity, some way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I thought about you when I saw that last night. I was like, dang, there's Jay's neighbor
Isn't
getting
that?
introduced by the President of the United States. How about that?
Yeah, he goes. My son had a picture, or a picture of him golfing over on Trump's golf course over in West Palm. I was like, oh my god.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, crazy small world. So what's your what's your theory on the Sebastian Rogers case? I have to ask because we talked a lot, you
Man,
and
I
I,
tell you,
about Summer. You know.
yeah, I tell you, there's a lot of the aspects the same as Summer Wells' case. You know, you've got the child goes missing when mom is the last one to see him after they've been out all day running around doing errands. Both the dads, you know, Don Wells was at work allegedly. Seth and Chris were at work allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like, you know, from what we could tell, you know, there's been child services, child protective services involved, you know, on all three cases, you know, on Seth's end, on the Proudfoot side, on the Wells side. Uh, there's a lot of similarities. Of course, this is another TBI case, you know, to where they have absolutely, apparently there's no signs of abduction, but yet the kid is just, you know, completely vanished. You know, the difference is Summer was 5 years old, you know, little tiny thing. Sebastian was, you know, a 15-year-old teenager. Now, given he's autistic, they said that he was highly functioning, and he just recently had that diagnosis. So apparently, he's been able to navigate throughout the world, you know, fairly decently.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't seem to me that he would be as helpless as what Summer would be at being 5 years old. But yet, there's not hiding her hair of either one of them, which is extremely strange for law enforcement to have absolutely no idea, none, none, what happened to either one of them. My theory in the beginning was that Katie had done something to him, just like it was, you know, when I thought Candace did something to Summer, because that was the last one that they had been seen with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had video footage of apparently throughout town, you know, at Sonic and allegedly at the Walgreens in Summer's case, you know, for last proof of life. And we had video surveillance at Texas Roadhouse with Sebastian, but then everything kind of goes blank from there. You know, they go home and they're never seen again, and the only one that's there with them is mom. But we don't have any. Now, allegedly, Candace left the Hill twice during that time frame from when they got home till Summer was reported missing. but we don't have that with Sebastian. Katie comes home, they pull into the garage. There's a silhouette of someone that possibly could be Sebastian taking the trash out, and that's it. No other surveillance, no ring doorbells, security cams, nothing. So I don't know.
It's bizarre.
I don't know. It's bizarre.
It creeps me out. Like that's the kind of thing that just creeps me out, is how human beings can just disappear. Children.
Exactly. Even as big as, well, we know, full-grown adults, but, can disappear the same way. But, we've got whole humans.
And then you know what, Scott? It's like I look back on the Daybell case and I look at what they did to Tylee Ryan, and she was not a small girl. She was a adult girl. JJ was what, 7, 8,
right.
7 or 8. She was like 16 years old, and it's like we know the details of what they did to her. Like you said, Summer's little. Just like little Harmony Montgomery. She was little.
Little Harmony, yeah.
Oh, God, that whole case makes me sick.
Man, that was a tough one for me to finish. I swear I couldn't watch the first couple of days. I just was not in the right mindset to be watching that horrific detailing of watching it again. I was just like, man, I got a couple of days late, so I was a couple of days behind on until they got up to the verdict watch. But yeah, that was just absolutely horrifying. But how do these humans, I'm not going to say just children, because like I said, we have grown adults that are just in the past couple of days, we've had two people up here, one up from Churchill right outside of Rogersville, go missing. He was another teenage adult, grown teenager. And then we had another one right across the state line in Virginia went missing. He was just out fishing. Another young man, grown teenager, just disappeared,
just gone. Right. Just like Caleb Harris.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
It's weird to think, and this is to quote another YouTube creator, all of us walking around out here, and this won't be verbatim, but it'll get the idea across. All of us walking around out here viewing this stream in chat right now, or a content creator or whatever, we're literally one moment away from being a YouTube video ourselves.
You're so right.
That really slams things into reality, because none of those people woke up that day thinking, you know what, I think I'm just going to go missing without a trace today.
Yeah.
They woke up with, their normal life planned ahead of them.
Yeah, I mean, like, people, like Caleb Harris, right? 21 years old, goes missing without his vehicle, without a phone, and barefooted.
Yep.
And none of it makes sense, just like Sebastian, and I don't know. My mind changes daily on theories, but I go back to what you said, who was the last one to see him But then I see this custodial issue, and I don't feel like we're getting the whole story, but we do know that the stepfather and the father, were communicating unbeknownst to the mother and trying to get
Right.
Sebastian passed off. And the mother didn't
Right.
want it. So was there a plan behind the mother's back to go ahead
Well,
and take care of this?
there is. Well, I think everybody, it was pretty self-evident from the very first time that they came on that you could tell that there was definitely tension between the two families.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree 100% with you in your thoughts that there's a lot more that is not being said by both parties. And I think they both know the same thing and that's what they're not talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether it's, like you said, were they planning something behind mom's back?
Well,
I don't know.
my theory is like this. One of my theories, anyways. I'm not saying this is what happened. Of course, theories are, you can have 100 theories. But one of my theories I've thought about was because everyone, when they heard that Katie was not having it, a lot of people went directly to, oh, she must have sent him away to keep him away from Seth because he didn't want to go to Seth for whatever reason. And I thought, there's no way in hell that she sent him away, right? Like that. I'm thinking the opposite of that. Like she wasn't having it, right? But the thing was, they had to get Sebastian out of the house so that Faith could be there because there was
Right,
inappropriate things going on, right? Allegedly.
right.
Well,
Allegedly, right.
what if, I mean, because it would have been really easy at that point, like if these, child protective services allegations came down the pike and for Chris to say, look, babe, with all of this going on, why don't we just let Seth take him? Da 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 da. But she had not agreed to it from what we've heard, right? Why wouldn't she
Right.
at that point just be like, oh, okay, let's just get through this CPS stuff and, da 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 da, work out these things with, your other daughter and whatever. Like it seems like that wouldn't have been such a big deal. However, there could have been a monkey wrench thrown into this mix. Now, when Nina filed her thing in mid-January for emergency custody, there were depositions taken according to the court docket within days of that filing. Katie Proudfoot, I think Kathy Bowersox, and I believe Chris. So after the deposition time, right, then you fast forward to, I'm sure they questioned Sebastian if he was involved, right? I mean, we're not going to see that because he's a minor. So it's not going to be in the docket. But I would think if he would be questioned about things that were going on in his home if the other parent, the parent of Faith, had a concern, right? So if Nina reports her concern to New Mexico, files this in New Mexico, is Tennessee CPS involved? I mean, they would have to be. They would have to flip it over to them, right?
I would think, yeah.
They would have to go out and investigate on behalf of this
They
case
would
in New
have to be, yeah,
Mexico.
they would at least have to
Because
be aware that there was another something
right.
going on in Mexico. Yeah.
Right. So let's say this. I mean, just, speculating here that, Nina filed her thing. They did their depositions and then it was sent over to CPS in Tennessee to do a follow up interview with Sebastian, possibly. Or if he told the teacher something. Chris Proudfoot did say that CPS came to the house, because he told the teacher something.
Yes.
So
Yes.
regardless, however CPS was brought in, whether it was Nina's thing or if it was from a teacher, what if Sebastian said there were things going on at Seth's house too? So that was the monkey wrench. Oh shit. Chris thinks, oh my God, now I can't pass him off on to Seth, and Seth's like, "Oh shit, I have allegations of something and child what?" And they both kind of
Right.
have skin in the game.
Right.
What do you think of that theory?
I I could see that being a valid theory. I really could.
Mhm. I know that people wanted
I
to say,
really,
Seth isn't in those records because he says he's not. You're not going to, I mean, if you're under investigation, he said out of his own mouth he's a suspect. And if he's under investigation for something and CPS related, do you really think he's going to say it? You really think he's going to come out and
right.
go, "Oh yeah, my son said this, that, and the other in those documents"?
Right.
I don't know. I just feel
Yeah.
there's more to it.
He's too busy painting everybody else that's trying to help in a bad light.
Hmm. And
The
sometimes it's
ones
the
that we do.
loudest ones, man. The loudest
Yeah,
ones.
yeah. And this is something that, I mean, I would hate that this would be the case, and I thought the same thing with Summer's case as well. I could see it more in Sebastian's case because just due to the fact of his age. I mean, I- I've got to look back at, and you can look back at you've got sons. You can look back and see what they were like at 15 years
Hmm.
old. You've got a husband. You can ask your husband what he was like at 15 years old. I know what I was like at 15 years old. If you've got all this tension going on in your home, both homes, dads and stepdads, and you're hearing through the walls at night, after you're supposed to be in bed, about all these plans about, what are we going to do? How are we going to deal with Sebastian? Is Sebastian going to live with, you know, Seth, or is he staying here? What about Faith coming? Well, we can't have Faith if Sebastian's here. Well,
Uh-huh.
we'll just separate the rooms. We'll put him at one end of the house and her at the other. And then you've got just being a 15-year-old, you know, the things with puberty and hormones and just the life changes that all teenagers go through, male or female. And then you've got the things, child protective services cases going on, and then difficulties, possible difficulties at school, with his playmates or lack thereof, his schoolmates, I should say. So there's a lot going on. I could see a lot going on that could be very overwhelming for any young man being 15 years old, or any child being 15 years old, male or female. And I would hate to think that, but I do see it as a possibility. He just said, "The heck with it, I'm out. I'm out of here. I'm running away from home." And he bit off more than he could chew. He got out away from home and, maybe got turned around,
And they just haven't
and
found him yet.
they just haven't found him. Yeah.
So do you think those sightings in the dispatch could have been him?
I've listened to those things over and over, time and time again,
Hmm.
trying to see if maybe something will just hit me a little bit different, if I listen to it,
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
again, and I don't know. I don't know if there's any. I don't put, and I don't mean any disrespect, if any dog handlers or any dog fans are listening out there. I think dogs do serve a big purpose, but I remember this. I was brand new when I first started my channel. There was a young lady. Her and her boyfriend had been out at a bar having drinks, And according to the boyfriend, she got a ride home with friends and he went his separate way. Well, come to find out, they went home after they had talked to a few people. There was some tension building between the two at the bar, and they left together, and he killed her when they got home and disposed of her back behind their condos in a wooded area.
Uh-huh.
And there was a sidewalk behind the condos that the people, it was part of the condo association, a walking path, but it was a concrete sidewalk
Right.
that people would use to walk, exercise, walk their dogs or whatever. Well, there was a tenant that lived in that. It was like 3 or 4 days later, was walking her dog one morning and noticed the smell, called the authorities. And that lady, she was disposed of just like 5 or 6 feet off of that little concrete walking path. And the dogs had been through there time and time again. And she was just 5 or 6 feet away.
It's nuts.
But it took 3 or 4. So dogs don't always work. And I don't mean to discredit any canine dogs, canine officers. I'm not meaning to do that. But they don't always work, because this girl was literally there from that night after they got home from the bar, and the dogs never found her. Foot searches never found her, and they combed that whole place, So
yeah, we had a woman down here as well in Florida, like I don't know, about a month or so ago. She went missing. It was like a domestic thing. And they went through these woods where they thought she was, where her phone last pinged, and her car was found, and they did not find her. And then this volunteer rescue group went out to the same area. It was like a day or two later, and they found her. So it happens. It definitely happens.
Yep. Dogs have found a lot of people, and thank goodness they have, but dogs have also missed a lot of people. It's no different than, humans.
Yeah, they're not
TBI,
perfect. They're not perfect.
FBI or your local law enforcement, they find a lot of people, but they find a lot of clues in things. They find a lot of evidence in cases, but they also miss a whole lot too. Look at Rex Heuermann, the Gilgo Beach guy. I mean, they're still digging up bodies 30-some years later. And
I know.
They solve all these cold cases. They're cold for a reason. It's because things were missed along the way. Not all of them. DNA forensics has advanced, since then, but there's a good number of them that have been solved just because of, human error. And that's not to say that there's anything wrong with the, police or, again, dogs or anything like that. Just human error. It's possible that the dogs were wrong in Sebastian's case, and there was no scent trail.
Right, but scent trail aside, they did that 5-mile radius search.
Right, yeah.
I believe twice. They went back over it, and they encouraged people. This is what I thought was interesting, and you maybe being in Tennessee, you have a little more insight on why they would ask this. Check your properties twice a day. Would that be in the case of if he's alive, that he would be hiding, or maybe someone placed something? Like, what is your take on that? Check it in the morning and check it in the evening, they said.
Either or.
Either or. Makes sense.
Yeah.
If he's moving throughout the day and then he's hunkered down somewhere in the evening, they might find him.
Yep.
I wonder if people did that. I mean, I wonder if they diligently did that.
Well, see, I doubt that very, very seriously that happened or ever happens because, and one example I can give, do you remember when JLR did that video on Light Hollow Road with that guy named Brandon?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when after they had taken the trek through the woods and they walked down Beach Creek Road and started walking back up Light Hollow Road, back up to where Brandon lived and where JLR parked his car, the little church and everything?
Yeah.
Do you remember that old rundown, dilapidated double wide that was there on the right side of the road?
I think
And they were talking about, well, summer could be under there or
it was not
in
lived
there
in, right? It's
whatever.
like decrepit.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about, let's go in there and check. And both of them was like, heck no, I ain't going in there. You crazy? And that's what I feel like that's what happens, and not just in Summer's case, but in all cases. How likely are people actually going to go into old, dilapidated, rundown, rat infested, snake infested, bee infested shack, sheds, barns, houses to actually search, crawl under crawl spaces, up under, mobile homes or their own crawl space, in the middle of summer when there's all kinds of snakes, out and spiders out. I mean, how many people are legitimately going to do that? Maybe would they open up a crawl space door and shine a flashlight in there for 2 or 3 seconds and then get out of the chest high weeds that they're in that are filled with snakes? Are they really going to do that?
That's what I'm wondering.
Are they going to take the chance of running up on a hornet's nest, hidden in all that brush and get stung to death? I mean, are some people going to do that on their property? Yeah. Are all people going to? I highly doubt it. Because why? Because JLR and Brandon wouldn't do it when they were walking up White Hollow. They sure didn't jump off the road and go do a thorough search of that double wide.
Yeah. I mean, your area is a little, I mean, I'm not, saying anything negative about your area, but from what I've heard, your area, Hawkins County, is a lot different than the Hendersonville area as far as like, like I don't know what you'd call it. Like the houses are, bigger. There's subdivisions. You're more like still country. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Do they have hollers in the Hendersonville area like you guys do? I feel like it's more built up. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Like it's more suburban than Hawkins County, if that makes sense.
I would agree with that. From what I've seen, I've never been to Hendersonville. I've just been to Nashville.
Yeah, it's like a suburb of Nashville, right?
And Nashville's like big city, right in the middle of
yeah, and it's close to that.
There. Right. So I don't actually know what Henderson, judging by the map. When we look at the map of Sebastian's neighborhood, that looks like a suburban area versus when you look at the Beach Creek community, which is definitely a rural area.
There you go. Yeah, rural. That's what I was looking for. And not only that, too, you guys have a pretty pretty big drug problem in that area. And I think that
Yeah.
makes people kind of go off the beaten paths into these, like you said, this mobile home that was, you know, scary. People just hole up in those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I'd be very hesitant of that. That's scary. That's scary. But
Yeah.
then on the other hand, and then you have the people on Ben Hill Road that are like, we don't want the police around here. Get out. Like we don't want to talk about it. But then on the other hand, you have this neighborhood that Sebastian comes from where these people are like, we paid like 800,000 for our house and we don't want to be in the neighborhood that the kid vanished from. Whereas Ben Hill Road, they're like, mind your own business. What
Right.
happened on their
Right.
property is their fucking problem. Leave us alone. It's like a totally different mindset, it seems like.
Right. But
So I don't know if that'll push
there.
law enforcement to, maybe kind of keep the public updated more than Hawkins did.
Well, I hope you do know. Well, I don't. I'm sure you know. I'll refresh your memory if you don't. It may have snuck up on you without you knowing. But Saturday is the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's Saturday,
It is.
which will mark 3 years that Summer's been gone.
Yep.
I hope Sebastian's case or any missing child's case, whether it be Caleb Harris's or, who's ever, any of the, Layla Santinello up here in Kingsport, Holland Snap up here in Kingsport. I hope none of these drag out to 3 years. I hope at least they can be, recovered and laid to rest in a dignified manner much sooner than that, because it's got to be a wreck and on these families. And here's something that I'll go on a little rant here.
Uh-oh, Scott H. rant coming up. Coming in hot. Go ahead.
I understand that, and some people may not agree with this, and that's okay. I've got a new warning sticker that I put up on my live stream that I did the other day. It says, warning, may contain opinions you don't agree with.
You don't say.
Yeah, you don't say.
Okay, so the opinions of Scott H. are not necessarily of Jay or this channel.
There you go. Exactly. Put your disclaimer out for me. At what point in time is it okay for a parent of a missing child to begin the healing process for themselves and not have to be, every time they're on camera or spotted at Walmart or at the grocery store, be absolutely broken down in tears, bawling their eyes out in total despair 24 hours a day, every day of their life, from the moment their child goes missing forward?
Are you asking me?
Just in general, for not to you specifically.
Well, I mean, doesn't it?
I
Don't
guess
you think it
that
matters?
would be more of
It matters on
a rhetorical question.
but it matters on the situation, right? Depending on the circumstances.
Well, sure, it does, but there has to be a time, and there has to be a time. There is a time. It's been proven. It's not healthy psychologically for anybody to live in a state of grief. You have to go through a mourning process, and then you have to go through a healing process, because you can't be of benefit to anyone if you don't do that.
Right. I agree with that.
You can't, continue on. These people are young, for all intents and purposes. They can't, you and I are about the same age. Hopefully, God willing, we've at least got 25 or 30 more years in our life. I wouldn't want one event, although tragic, I would not want that one event to make it to where people expect me every time that I'm seen to be miserable for the next 30 years of my existence on this planet. I just think that's
A little unfair.
maybe, a lot unfair.
Well, especially if you
A
have
lot
other
unfair.
children too. I mean, you have to go on for other children as well. You know.
Well, I mean, they're married. They themselves are sons and daughters and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles. You serve a role. I know that you're a sibling. I know that you're a daughter. I know that you're a mother. I know that you're a wife. And then you go outside of that. You've got your friends and your close friends, and then your acquaintances and extended family and things like that, but there's got to be a point to where you, at least for me, that I think some of these parents deserve, no matter how rotten they are,
Right.
until it's been proven that they did something, they deserve a little bit of grace and the opportunity to heal a little bit just for the sake of their well-being.
I agree.
Unless, of course, if they're guilty, then I want them to fucking suffer every second of their life.
Yeah.
But until then, we all are innocent until proven guilty, and it's the state and the prosecutors and law enforcement. It's their burden to prove their guilt. It's not the other way. If I'm charged with something, I don't have to prove that I'm innocent. You have to prove I'm guilty.
Right. If they don't have the evidence, they don't have the evidence. And I think that's
Right.
where they are with the Wells case.
Yeah. and that's a hard thing to swallow, but especially in the beginning, when tensions are running high and everybody else is, true crime fanatics. We're fleshing out everybody and looking at every interview and reading every news article and watching every press briefing and everything like that.
Yeah.
We're fleshing everything out.
We're
and
on
this
the
is
edge of our
God,
seats wanting this little girl home,
Right, but after a while, summer is going to be 3 years. Sebastian's over 3 months now, and they're both essentially they're in the same spot as far as the public knows from an investigative standpoint. There's no evidence leading to anything. They don't know if the kids ran away. They don't know if there was foul play involved. They don't know if there was an accident somewhere, that they didn't run away. They just went out playing and an accident befell them. They don't know. None of us know. Or if they do know, they're keeping it so close to their chest, that, which they should, that the public doesn't know, and maybe, the next foot's getting ready to fall.
It just blows my mind after 3 years, though, that they, you know what? Okay, you know what really blows my mind? And this is what I was thinking about the other day. I can't play Don's new interview because Nexstar owns them. But regardless, I heard, even though I interviewed with that girl, Ansley Daniels, I can't play their stuff, but I did listen to it.
Right.
They can't stop me from listening. So I did listen to it, and I thought it was interesting that there, or maybe it was the article that I read, something that Don said something about CPS had, he referred to them as kidnapping his boys, but that they actually willingly signed rights over. I never knew that. I
Yeah.
never knew that was willingly. So, Scott H., could there be something there since they signed off letting those other kids go that there won't be any charges pressed on them? Because they actually, I mean, those kids they have new families or family. Hopefully they're together. But those kids are never, I mean, because Don kept telling us, oh, we just want to get our boys back. We're doing this. They knew damn well, Scott H., that they had signed rights over.
Right.
And remember when Don was in jail? Remember Ronnie, what's his name? God, I forgot his Lawson. Remember he
Lawson.
said, yeah, they're not talking. They got lawyers. Do you think that there
Right.
was a lawyer working for the state to get them to sign those kids over? And there was like some kind of deal made? I mean, I hate to be weird like that, but I mean, look at Kayla Montgomery. Look at the deal she got.
Right.
It's just
Right.
weird to me. I mean, not that they're not looking for or keeping her case open or want information if anything comes in, but it just seems awfully weird to me because Don never said that they were never getting. I mean, he kept saying, we're going to get our boys back. They knew they weren't. I mean, we knew they weren't.
Well, Detective Pruitt, when he was interviewed that time on WJHL, he said that the Child Protective Services case bled over into Summers' case.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
didn't what's his name say that too?
You said,
Fred Hill.
When you look at
Didn't Fred Hill say that too on the Ziggy jail call? That Summers case, he was being questioned about it. Wasn't there something with that too? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I remember Fred said that he was being a question about it, but I don't remember him saying anything about Summers' case and the Child Protective Services case with the boys bleeding into each other. I can't recall. I'm not going to say that he didn't say it. I would just have to go back and listen to that again to see. But, it's entirely possible. Like the Adam Montgomery, Harmony Montgomery trial, once I was able to get caught up and then watch it, over here with you guys and kind of listen to you all about how it works, because I would have never known about all them cutting deals with, like the drug dealer and with Kayla and all of that kind of thing, all of those kind of things in order to help to get a conviction that the state wanted towards Adam. So I don't know how all that legal stuff works. I know that stuff happens, that there's plea deals and diversions and, if you plead guilty to this, we'll drop these charges. And I know all that stuff goes on, but I just don't know what all's involved, the ins and outs of it, and to what extent it can go on until I was listening to you guys and watching chat on the, Adam Montgomery trial, and I was like, thinking how much is actually going on that we're not actually hearing.
Exactly. That's what shook me. That's why I was like, what?
I understand it so much more now because I'm following the Karen Reed case. And it's kind of cool this time because I never watched any of the Turtle Boy stuff or any of that.
Yeah.
I stayed as isolated as I could from that case, so that now when I'm watching that case, I'm watching it on court TV. I'm not getting anybody else's insight. I'm watching it as if I were a juror. So it's kind of neat to do it this time. Now, granted, if you would have been covering it on your channel, I would have been watching over here with you. But
yeah, I haven't. That's one I'm not following at all. I don't know anything about it, not one thing, and I'm perfectly fine with it.
there's a lot of things that I see going on in that trial.
Oh yeah,
Well,
like corruption
I'm,
stuff.
I'm assuming that's going on in that trial because there's different lawsuits going besides just the Karen Reed trial. Those people are involved in different. They have lawyers for different trials that are going on or will be going on. So this judge has to be careful what's said in this trial because it may affect the other witnesses, the state's witnesses in their other trials. So it's just a huge legal mess, but I understand so much more now than what I ever have.
Mm-hmm.
And that I could see that in Summer's case. That could very well be a possibility.
I don't put anything past them to make deals.
No,
I mean, if they don't have the
no,
evidence to prosecute them for Summer, maybe they use that as leverage to get them to give up their rights to those boys so that they know they have no children that can get harmed again. You know what I mean? Like,
that.
if that's the
Yep.
least we can do right now, that's what we have to do until this little girl is discovered.
Hey, I'm right there with you, girl. If that's what we've got to settle with,
Yeah.
you know, okay, because
Those boys deserved better than what they had, for sure.
you think, I mean, the way I look at it is it's a wonder those boys made it as to the age that they did.
I know it.
Considering the parents that they had,
Yeah. Yeah. And I just, I think about them a lot. It breaks my heart, honestly. Like, because I remember the first call when I first called Don, it was like spur of the moment. I just looked up his number. I was like, oh my God, let's see if this is him. Because I just heard that she was missing. And I was just calling to see if, he wanted to, talk and tell me about Summer and come on the podcast and raise awareness. And he answered, and he was at this water park with the kids. And they were there in the background, and I heard them, and I asked how old they were, and he had to ask them how old they, hey, Josie, how old's Wyatt? Like his dumb ass. But, just hearing their little voices, and then you think, here we are 3 whole years later, 3 grades later. Those boys are 3 grades older than they were, and it's just, I hope that they're happy and healthy and just grateful. I hope that they're in good homes, and I wish that there was more that we could find out about how these kids do, because we hear so badly about, how bad foster homes turn out. We don't really get the success stories until, I guess we have to wait till they're 18 if they want to talk, right?
Right.
You just hope and pray that it's something positive for them, because they really deserved so much better than what they were subjected to.
I know that there are success stories out there, and you're right. We need to hear more of the success stories of fostered children and adopted children and stuff like that. I know my niece is adopted, and she has an absolutely wonderful home, wonderful parents, but you're never going to hear about her. She excels in school, excels in track and field, excels in, everything, her daily life and functions and things like that. Wonderful, wonderful little young lady. Well, I mean, she's a young lady. She's over 18 now, but, when my sister and brother-in-law first got her, she was just a tiny little thing, still a toddler, just, barely. And, so there's success stories out there. And, I would like to hear, it would be nice to hear, but like you said, it was probably going to be up to them when they turn 18. If we ever
do
hear, if the boys turned out all right. And
so they would get new names, wouldn't they, if they're adopted? Would they get new last names? Would they do that?
I don't know.
I've never thought of that before. It's really sad, man. It's sad to think of 3 little lives being, in an upheaval and then getting new families. I can't even imagine what that would be like. I mean, I'm grateful that they're able to get new families, but then on the other hand, the whole situation is just so sad in the first place.
Yes, definitely. One of the things that really bothered me about Don, well, there's a lot bothers me about Don, but when he did an interview on someone's channel and he was talking about that the boys, they had started them on medication, and that he wasn't going to have any of that, if he ever got them back. And see, that's what you're dealing with a lot of families, not just Don and Candace, but a lot of families, is they feel like that's the wimp's way out, is to take medication. Well, somebody a hell of a lot smarter than Don Wells, probably several, looked at those boys, interviewed those boys, talked to those boys, and felt that there was a need, that they needed medication, whether it be for, autism. I don't know if you medicate that, or, ADHD, ADD, depression, anxiety, whatever. But, he was like, they've got them on all this medicine, got them fucked up, and they never needed that when they were at home. Well, through Don's eyes, they didn't need that, but through professionals' eyes, they most certainly needed that.
Mm-hmm.
And for, you know as well as I do, that if those boys ever went back to Don and Candace Wells, they would never get that medication that was prescribed to them to help them. And to me, that's cruel, to deny, your children just because you think they didn't need the medication. Look at your drunk, cocaine addicted ass.
Yeah.
And your life, and tell me how well your life and your choices have turned out for you. And
Right.
and now you're trying to affect 3 lives, your boys,
Yeah.
by that, by
Because they
doing
didn't,
that.
yeah, because they don't learn. There's something wrong with them, that it's this generational abuse bullshit, like on both sides of their families. Look at the Harrer family. What a disaster, right? And then look at Don's family. There's a reason he was essaying at 12. It's just disgusting. And
Right.
when I thought the essay couldn't get any worse, I thought Summer Wells' case had the most essay I've ever covered in a case. Now we have Sebastian's. And it's so ugly. But, you look at, like we were comparing the two earlier. We thought Don Wells was bad, like we were saying earlier. Remember Don Wells on the pot? Remember him sitting on the pot? But he didn't expose himself, did he? Nope. Even Don Wells had some boundaries there. And we thought that was probably one of the worst things we could ever see was the Summer Wells case and the dynamics. I mean, we had literal crackheads up there on the hill saying they were trying to find Summer. It was a circus.